Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, all the way from 1971 up until now. These video games are brand new at the beginning of November 1982. And the Atari 2600 is where it's at. That's what we were playing last time. But let's check out a different console. What's our next release? Next, we're going to be going to play on the Astrocade, or right now, the VideoGames, either Astrocade or VideoGames, whatever company you bought it from. This is Cosmic Raiders. Let's check out some Cosmic Raiders, starting with the box. Cosmic Raiders sounds extremely generic. I believe we had to have played this game. It sounds like something we could have played up to this point. We played over 3,000 games across all systems, and we have never come across Cosmic Raiders? That sounds very hard to believe. This is the 833rd game that we played that has a sci-fi theme, and we haven't seen Cosmic Raiders? It just seems like it's a mishmash of maybe games we've played before, but I guess not. So this is the Bally Astrocade, or Astrocade VideoGames. This marks the 31st game we played on this console that isn't doing as well as some of the big hitters like Intellivision, Atari, and Odyssey. So this one is obviously a sci-fi game because it's Cosmic Raiders. In deep space lies the alien sector Larkin. You are there on a mission to obtain energy sources that have been seized by the evil Larkins. Radar and superior guidance system help you avoid attacking fighters and kamikaze ships. The energy stars are near the Larkin command ship. You must retrieve them before you can leave the enemy sector. All right, I think we can do it. That's all we have is the front of the box for that. Anything else for artwork for Cosmic Raiders? I think besides the box, yeah, there's the system. Just to bring you up to speed, Bally Astrocade has been around almost as long, not as long as the Atari, but this is one of those systems that were like 1978 whenever this was released. So it's amazing we're still getting games for it. It's kind of like the Atari, because think of the other games that came out, 1976, like the Fairchild Channel F, they're gone. You're not going to be able to get any more games for that or support for that. And so this is a really old system like the Atari, but it's still going. Go, Astrocade, go. There's the cartridge that we're going to pop into play. It's not from the year 2019. It's just the number they put on the cart. And besides that, I believe we have just the screenshot of it, teasing a little bit of what it's like. Here's the manual for Cosmic Raiders. It's the same thing we saw for the front of the box. Designed and developed by Bob Ogden. Way to go, Bob. This is the 5th game that we've seen by Bob Ogden. All of them have been on the Bally Astrocade. He's kind of like the Ed Averitt of the Astrocade. Ed Averitt was the main programmer for majority of the games on the Philips Video Pack and Magnavox Odyssey 2. Bob did a lot of the games. You can see audio and graphics, and developed by Action Graphics. No way. This is the same team that worked on The Incredible Wizard, which was one of the best games you could play across any home console. So I'm excited to get to that one. We can breeze by the loading instructions. We don't need to know how to load, but look at that. It's 1 to 4 players, but you don't get to play at the same time, even though this system, you could play with 4 joysticks, or 4 hand controllers, as they refer to them. So the 1 to 4 player is going to be arcade hot seat style. You can't play at the same time. And then it tells us all about Larkin and attacking our base. We choose the game modes like we did with all the Bally Astrocade games, and we'll get into that whenever we boot the game up. To play the game, we have the trigger, which you have to remember the hand controller has that. The knob doesn't really do anything, but the joystick at the top is what controls your acceleration moving all around. The object of the game is reach the highest score. Haven't heard that one before. Shooting down as many enemy fighters as possible and destroying bombs for bonus energy stars. Every 2 bombs destroyed in a sector gives you a bonus energy star. Radar is used to track the front of you and behind of you. So we have a radar, a mini-map. Enemy fighters are shown in white. Your ship and energy stars are shown in black, F and S. Okay, so they're giving us all the symbols that we'll see on the radar. When you complete a sector, all enemy fighters are destroyed, and there's more than one player. The next player will have their turn until one of their ship is shot down. But we won't be taking turns here. No friends and no 4-player party going on. Here's the different enemy types. We got the fighters. And I guess they're all called fighters. They didn't give them any other names. And there's the point value for them. The number of bombs destroyed within a sector determines the super bonus stars. And then there it is, the energy star. Energy stars can be saved up as you go from sector to sector. Now, these just hang in the air. At the end of every sector, you receive additional bonus for energy stars you keep. But if you fly through them, you get this like invincibility. It's really, really cool. It shows us some strategies for winning here. And if you want to play again, just press that trigger and go. Astrocade. taken over not by Bally anymore, at least at this point. Let's pop in and play Cosmic Raiders, Bob Ogden and Action Graphics, published by Astrocade, the beginning of November 1982. So this is how the Bally Astrocade loads up. Does everyone remember this? It's been a while since we've been on this system. The 4-player hot seat's pretty cool, but what you got to do is you can push the button on your, or trigger on your hand controller, and then you can use the joystick because it's an analog, a little twisty knob at the top. And then we want to do Cosmic Raider, and then number of players, we'll just go with 1 for right now. I'm doing all this with the joystick. How many ships do we want? Let's go, a lot. Give me a lot of lives. And then what kind of intensity do we want? 0 is going to be really easy. 9 is going to be ramping up to the craziness. Let's just give you a little taste of what it's like with intensity 2. Level 2. Player 1, good luck. If we did level 0, it's the easiest one, but it's the only level where the enemies do not get harder as the game goes on. This level, the enemies will progressively get more difficult. Intensity. And what's also interesting is if we did this with 4 people, each person could set their own level of intensity and ships. Really, really cool customization. So some of the options there. All right, entering Sector 1. Let's go. All right, so there's one of my invincibility transporters. Now, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, I got to get the bombs. There it is. I got to make sure these bombs do not hit the surface. So I have it. Oh, nice. I love the explosion. It looks like fireworks. Really, really cool. So if you look down at the bottom, I have a radar that I'm using to determine the red blips are going to be where the bombs are. And all the other ships are represented by the other symbols that have to blow up. Black pixels down at the bottom. I have really, really cool control. I have to tell you, it's smooth because being able to move up, down, left, and right, and then I have this acceleration with the sound effects is awesome. So flying around, you can see I have the little pixel down the radar. Oh, so enemies are represented by the white dots, and I'm represented, and my invincibility is represented by the black dots. There you go, player 1 bonus. We didn't use any of the invincibility, so we get some bonus points there. 2010. Is it the year 2010? The future. All right, let's go again. Get to the bombs. Don't let them blow up. And then we can knock out some enemies there. Nice. Oh, man, that was a lucky shot. I give myself plenty of lives so you can see what it's like. And then also, if you see down the bottom right, they're giving us more of the symbols of what enemies are out. I love the way this feels to control. It's an obvious Defender clone. I just saw that in the chat. There's not too many that we can play on home console, so it's really, really cool to play. This is awesomely fast and loud and explosive. I love it. All right, keep going to the side. There should be one of our invincibilities. We want to take care of the bomb. Man, they're all clustered together. Every time an enemy explodes, the shrapnel is awesome. Fast pace. I feel like we're blowing out the speakers of the Astrocade playing this. Oh, I barely got that bomb. So whenever I move up and down, I'm doing a normal speed, but if I go really fast by pushing the direction I want, I'll get this burst. You gotta be careful though. You can go too fast and smash into people like I've been doing. All right, looks pretty good. We're doing okay for this sector. Enemies are going to get progressively more difficult. The play control is what's setting this apart. Man, this is a great package of games. Looking over the chat, I already see a 3-star rating, which would be fairly average for all the games you could be playing up to this point. Oh, get it. And this one was a console I did not have or experience whenever this came out. So it's a real treat checking out other games besides what was on the main video game consoles. Because like I said, this is only the 31st. There's not that many games that are available considering the hundreds that are available for these other systems. Already seen a 3.5 for everything that's out there. Oh, we got one that exploded. Not good. All right, I think it's time to use the invincibility. Now, here's where this shines. Watch this. Fly through this. Boom. You become invincible, and you can just smash through the enemies. You still have your shot, and then it lets you know when it's running out. So cool. It is overpowered. It is so much fun. Love it. All right, so obviously it's Defender. Of all the games we've seen up to this point across all systems, this is the 36th Defender variant. A majority of the really good ones, though, have been on home computers. Consoles, not so much. On console, some of the best ones you could be playing right now, we got a new enemy type, too. Would be like Chopper Command on the Atari VCS. That was by Activision, or Space Raiders, which was available on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. Then the Star Wars game, that was on the Atari 2 by Parker Brothers. Oh, get them all. I love how well this plays. It's so much fun. It's great. And we also played one called, and the official Defender is also out right now. Now, the very first Defender that was released on the Atari, most people kind of pan that one as it's not as good. Right now, that Defender was very, very good. I actually would give this one a nod over that one. Notice that we're not getting any flickering, smooth gameplay. Excellent. It actually reminds me of one of the Defender variants we played on the Texas Instruments 99-4A, but that one had some talking in it. You know, home computer games very different than what was available for the console. This is really impressive for a console game right now. Yeah, the invincibility is something new. There's also no rescue element like Defender. But at this point in video game history, we kind of lump these games as they're either a variant of Defender because you can turn your ship left and right and scroll, or it's a variant of Scramble or Super Cobra, which is auto-scrolling. I mean, but you gotta admit, the nod of Defender is really strong with this one. This element kind of reminds me of Mayday that we saw in the arcade. Oh, just pick up another one? Oh, that's so cool. So these power-ups, you can leave through each sector, and every time you clear one, you're going to get more added to the screen. So it's like you're being able to conserve power-ups. Really, really nice feature. So I don't know. The official Defender that's right now, this is really close, or about to the same. I might even give this the nod. I like the gameplay. I want to keep playing this longer, or maybe just because I'm not used to the other Defender. But yeah, I would say this is slightly better than Star Wars, slightly better than Defender, maybe just a hair. I don't know if I can go 4.5, but I'm looking over the chat. I see 3.5 for console games, and then a 4-star over there. Yeah, 4 stars for all the games you could be playing across consoles right now. Cosmic Raiders is something special. It is a generic game title, but I'll still say 4. While it's the same rating that we gave it on the show for Star Wars and the same rating for Defender, I might give this one the nod, but still excellent. Very, very well done. Manly's going 3 stars, and then Nebulous 3.5. Very nice. So Cosmic Raiders, check that one out. That one's fun. All right, let's press forward to see our next game. Our next release takes us to the United Kingdom, and this is Countdown to Doom on the BBC Micro. Countdown to Doom? Yeah, let's do it. I want to count down to Doom. Let's see, if Doom is released in December 10th, 1993, and it's currently November 1st, 1982, then if we wanted to count down to Doom, we got about 4,054 days until Doom is released. There you go. So we just did our countdown to Doom. Let's take a look at the box for Countdown to Doom. That's just a tease. We play plenty of games that have Doom in the title, and because Doom is so prolific, I keep thinking, oh, this is it. We're going to play something like Doom. But no, it is not. This is by Acorn Soft Games, or Acorn Soft Limited. It is the 11th game we've seen by this company. You have to have the BBC Model B. The Beeb Model B. That means the more expensive one. Sci-fi-ish theme for the front. They're not really telling us too much from the front of the box. Let's flip it over the back. It's an adventure, yes, text adventure, while orbiting the treasure-laden but inhospitable planet Duma Wangara, or Doom for short. Your ship suffers a devastating attack from local air defense system. Grounded on Doom, your ship is both damaged and threatened with total disintegration due to the corrosive effects of the Doom atmosphere. Yes, because it's Doom. Repairs to your ship must be made after you can escape. There's also a tempting array of treasure to be collected, but the clock is ticking away all the while, and it's only a matter of time before your ship will disappear in a cloud of dust, where you must reassign yourself to a life in the wilderness of doom. And then we see other games or adventures that they have: Sphinx Adventure, Philosopher's Quest, and Castle of Riddles, and we've seen all of them. This is the next one, at least by Acorn Soft. This one marks the 37th game we played on the BBC Micro. It's still a fairly new microcomputer, and so there, of course, may have been more games that we could have been playing, but we're getting the majority of these games. This was available both on tape or on disc, dual format disc. I don't think we have that kind of money. We're gonna go with the cassette version, the original. There it is. That's the cassette we're going to pop into play. Look at the contents. The contents of the cassette is Doom. I love it. And there it is. There's the 5 1/4 floppy disk. The later release of this one. So this one had lots of sequels. This is the very beginning of a trilogy of games that's done by Peter Kilworth. And we've already seen Peter Kilworth do a few other games too. Ridiculously hard adventure games, text adventure games. So this is the third game we've seen by Peter Kilworth. And that would be Philosopher's Quest and Castle of Riddles. This is the newest, like the trilogy, the best in British adventure games. What you're seeing here is a later box because it was first published by Acorn Soft right now on the BBC Micro, and it was later re-released in 1987 by Topologica. That's this box, the later box. So this version was expanded by about 50%, and they also had releases on the BBC Micro, Acorn Electron, whatever that is, the Amstrad CPC, the Amstrad PCW, the Atari ST, a bunch of other home computers that we haven't seen yet. So it's going to be returning as a compilation as well, too. This has 2 sequels after this, Return to Doom and Last Days of Doom. So it's a Doom trilogy, but it's not. It's like the Doom trilogy before the Doom trilogy you actually think of whenever I say the Doom trilogy. It's the old school Doom trilogy, or the Peter Kilworth trilogy. It explains there about the author on the back of this newer box. So this is, and there's the later version of the cassette tape too. Yes, I want a real Doom. So I'm showing all the releases because this was several times on the BBC Micro, but this will be the only time we see it here because we're going to see this text adventure game on lots of other home computers. There we go. The front of it is right there. So the manual has some loading instructions for us. We have to chain Doom to play. And we do have a save feature if you want to use that, if you want to restart. Now, this is really terrible instructions. It's just about how to load, save. It doesn't really explain adventure games or what the point of the game is. You're meant to find all the parts to your ship, repair your ship, and get off the planet. That's what this is. We got to get off of Doom so we can go play the real Doom. Just kidding. All right, we're going to play the original on cassette. This is Countdown to Doom. Peter Kilworth and Acorn Soft Limited, the beginning of November 1982. Old school. I want to tape. And I want to chain Doom. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually not going to wait for the entire load. This time I'm going to cheat because it does take quite a long time to load that cassette. So here you go. Oh, here. Then it won't do it then. There. Countdown to Doom. If you want to start from initial position, type I. If you want to restart from a save game, type S. So we are going with I. From the beginning, from the top. This does take a long time to load. I'm not going to wait for that. We start off in the control room. What used to be the control room of our spaceship. After the attack, it looks more like a junkyard. The only usable exit is north. The others are covered by a delicate patina of squashed solid-state circuitry. There's some explosive on the floor with a self-igniting fuse. A ruined console lines on one side, barely operating. Only one button seems to be functional. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a straight text adventure game. And here on the show, we are not new to text adventure games. This marks the 214th game we played that is straight text. No pictures, no animation, nothing on the screen except text. And I wouldn't have it any other way. All right, so here we go. Let's first start with take that explosive and see what happens. To my better knowledge, I don't know. Okay, good. We took it. And after that, let's go ahead and head north because that's the only way we can go, I think, right? Does N work? Please, N work. Yes, N works. We don't have to type the whole thing out. It's time to play Doom in 1982. You're in what used to be the engine room of your ship. Only in the landing cargo hold has been concentrated into it. What's left of the motor will not, alas, be responsible for any more flights. Uh-oh. And we got to get off this planet. There's a port south and a doorway northeast. The door to the northeast was jammed on landing and won't open. All right, so if that's the case, let's try blowing this place up. Light the fuse. The fuse starts to burn. Drop explosive. This is a classic. Okay, it worked. Let's get the heck out of here. Go. Now we go back to the control room. A ruined console lies on one side, barely operating. Only one button seems to be functional. And then all we got to do is just wait here a sec. Because we know it's going to happen. Yes, the next door, there's a loud bang. The explosion worked, and we're past. Nice. Okay, so let's go back north. So first puzzle solved. Out of all the other games we played by Peter Kilworth at this point, this is actually logical, and it makes sense. So thanks, Peter. I appreciate it. This is very classic text adventure gaming. It is it's still meant to be challenging, and it is going to be difficult later on. All right, so we're back in the cargo hold engine room. Door to the northeast is off its hinges, but still blocks the way. So we blew the door off, and that's how we got out. All right, so let's go ahead and push the door. The door falls outward onto the ground, leaving the way clear. Nice. All right, so let's head. Let's look. What happens if we say look? You're in what used to be the engine room. Okay, so it says we can go south or northeast. So let's go ahead and go northeast. Oh, and it gives us the time before the ship collapses is 210. It's slowly going to tick down. You're standing under a dull copper sun in a wide open clearing where the ship crashed. To the northeast, north, and northwest lies an evil-looking and smelling swamp, while further west, a track climbs steeply up the tower tongue of a glacier. Westwards, there seems to be a jungle, while south, an opening in the mountains reveals a valley. Southeast, there's a path into the mountains, and a narrow path wanders east through cliffs to skirt around the swamp. To the southwest lies your ship. There is a heavy, mangled door here. This is very descriptive. Reminds me of Zork, so well done. The writing is beautiful. All right, so after that, let's go ahead and head west. We'll go to the jungle. You're in the jungle with exits in all directions, so it's kind of like a maze to work your way out. This is where you'd be writing your own map. After that, let's head north and hope we don't get lost. Yep, still in the jungle. Let's go northwest. You'd be wandering around for quite a long time because at this point, some of these games would wrap around. You go to one place and then you'd end up showing up at another place after that. All right, so after northwest, let's go northwest again. You find yourself standing in an open patch of the west of the jungle. A wide river lies west with more jungle beyond. Crevices block progress along the riverbank, and there's a pair of infrared goggles here. Sweet. Take goggles. Yes, we'll take those. All right, so now let's go back east. Back in the jungle. Make sure you know where to go. And then go north after that. You're in the jungle with exits in all directions. Let's head east. This should be back at the landing area. Yes. In the southwest lies your ship, and the heavy mangled door is here. Okay, so here we go. Let's wear those goggles. Yes, there's got to be a cave. At least where we can protect ourselves. But we were essentially trying to solve all the puzzles to get all the parts of our ship back, or not just the parts, but also repair the ship so we can get off the planet. We have to get out of Doom. Yeah, very well done. Some of the other ones by Peter Kilworth were more, they were supposed to be puzzling or cryptic. This one is a really nice sci-fi theme. I like the aesthetic. Not nearly as impressive as Starcross by Infocom, but still well done. Okay, so it's giving us the time again. We have a time limit. 200 is the time before the ship collapses. All right, so through the swamp, we can see through our goggles. Nice. And then we're going to follow, we have to follow a safe route to make it past that and try to get to the floating island if we can after that. But I'm going to go ahead and stop our taste of Countdown to Doom there. Our tease of playing Doom in 1982 ends with this. So of all the games you could be playing right now across all home computers, you know how many text adventure games are out there, and you know that this would be, you know, slightly generic for us because we're pretty spoiled playing everything, but it still does a admirable job playing an adventure game, and it's still interesting. I would still enjoy this, and especially those playing in the United Kingdom and you had a BBC Micro, you would be into this and love this as well. So I'm still thinking around the average range for all the games you could play up to this point. It is text only, but it's done very well. And this is the beginning of the trilogy, and it's going to be released in lots of other places. I see mostly 3s of all the games you can be playing, and I'll say the same. It's still 3 stars for all the games across all home computers. And we're not done seeing Countdown to Doom. This first version we're going to see several times, and then we're going to see all the rest of the trilogy later. Here it is, the very first time we ever saw it. Countdown to Doom. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Our next game is Cyborg on MS-DOS. Let's check out some Cyborg. So this one is not to be confused with Cyborg that's on the TRS-80. That's more of an action game. This is adventure, if that's your flavor. And we've already seen this one on the Apple II in 1981. This is by Sentient Software and the release for MS-DOS or IBM computers. The front of the box, so cool. You are playing as a cyborg. In fact, this is a unique text adventure game because it's going to be giving you the viewpoint of your both halves, your human half and your robot half. It's creepy. It's awesome. Do you enjoy science fiction? Yes, we do. Cyborg is a unique approach to gaming with no treasures and no score. It contains real-time graphic simulation, character development, animals that you can talk to, opinions from the cyborg, and a consistency found in no other adventure. At least that's what it boasts here on the back. So this is by Sentient Software and Michael Berlin. It's the 5th time we've seen Michael Berlin and Sentient Software give us a game. And including the ports too. This was released later on IBM PCs by Softsmith Software, or the Software Guild is the main publishing company. This is the 15th game that we've seen by the Software Guild. Both boxes, whichever one you get for the IBM PC, that's the 2 examples with what the screenshot is. And we have the manual, but we're not going to go through everything because it is a lot. It's debriefing on what this game's about. This is an interactive fiction text adventure game, the 215th one that we've seen on the show. It offers a few things a little bit different, though. This is using the theme of amnesia in the game because your life and who you are as a cyborg, you don't really know until you learn that later in the game. It also is giving you a cyberpunk theme, and that's very rare to take sci-fi to more of like a dark sci-fi theme. The only other one we can think of with dark sci-fi or cyberpunk themes would be like something like Genetic Drift that we saw, or the Tron games, I guess. So yeah, it is not an average adventure game. I'm just going to scroll through the manual, so if you want to pause and take in and bask in the lore, you can, because there's a lot to pick up here. Also, this game's perspective, the way that they type it out, is different. It's like talking to yourself, as if you were a computer talking to yourself to get information. It's like a first-person perspective. There's less than 3 adventure games we can play so far that do that. It's really, really impressive. All right, Sentient Software brings us Cyborg by Michael Berlin and Sentient Software at the beginning of November 1982. And here it gives you more lore right from the beginning. You have to find out who you are, what the purpose of the game is. And if you don't find any answers, then you type it in because it's a text adventure game. Yeah, right? All right, so the beginning of this game gives you lots of stats because you're half robot. You have medical scanners, what your cyborg level is, how much damage you've taken, what your body scan reveals, and we were wearing absolutely nothing. So we start the game completely naked, but it doesn't matter because we're a cyborg. We're at the T on the east-west dirt path through a forest. A northern path leads through the grove of trees. A tiny lizard wearing a silver spacesuit stands by the path, leaning on a tinier crutch, and groans, "Food, food for the truth." Yes, we can hear and talk to lizards in the game. That's what this is. Okay, so what we're going to do first is see if we can get some help. So I'm going to try typing help. Help me, please. I hope I'm not giving you trouble. When my energy level gets low, I become cranky. If you're having trouble moving from place to place, type a command like go, followed by a compass point. So you are working with your second side of yourself, your other cyborg side. That's why this text adventure game would be unique after all the games we could play up to this point. You're going to have to know what commands. It's almost like more complication because in text-adventure games, usually you have to know what commands the computer or the game would understand. Here you have to know what the commands, not only what the computer would understand, but what your cyborg side would understand. Look right here. You can have scan commands for yourself, system commands. So they're giving you lots and lots of help. And this is, we're back to the T intersection here. Let's go ahead and go southwest from here. We're now in the clearing in a forest. The trees surround us in all directions, but an overgrown path leads to the south, starts here. So let's go ahead and head south. I think that's the only way we can go. We're on the north-south overgrown path that rises through trees. Below the raised path is a small clearing. The path itself is enclosed by a low metal railing, and littering the path are an incredible number of dead insects. Very interesting, since we had a lizard that was very hungry. So let's see if the lizard would like them. Get insects. Taken. And the little asterisk means that it's like your cyborg self is answering you back. Very nice touch. All right, so let's go ahead and go back north. Nope, I said north. We're back in the clearing. And then go northeast. And there's our Mr. Lizard. We can ask lizard, or see what the lizard would like. So let's ask lizard. I think it's just the two-word text parser. It points to its mouth and bears 2 rows of tiny teeth while groaning, which means he's just still hungry. Sometimes you might, when we play this in the Apple version, I don't believe it allowed us to find the insects. And that was the first version that was possible. So if you're playing the game and you realize, wait a second, there's no insects, you have to go a different route and try something a little different. All right, so let's go ahead and keep asking. Let's do give insects. Communication unintelligible. What? Why would it not? I wonder why wouldn't, if we go north and northwest, let's try feed him. Unable to comply. Vocabulary chip scan reveals word him unknown. That's a really fancy way of saying, I don't understand what you're typing in the text parser. So it didn't understand that one. All right, so after we go, let's try feed lizard. There, that one worked. We get him a bunch of flies. It smacks its lips and it bows. So now we can ask the lizard. The lizard grins and in a raspy voice says, you may ask me 1, who you are, 2, where you are, 3, what you are, or 4, all about yourself. So we can get all the answers right here. Ready? You are something neither I nor any of my kind have seen before. Where I come from, we are kinder to life forms than your superiors were to you. We don't try to modify them as if playing with toys. So maybe we're shunned upon since we're a cyborg. The lizard grins and in a raspy voice says, you may ask me, oh, and then the same question. So that was who we are. All right, so 2 is, where are we? Because remember, the game has the focus on amnesia. We're supposed to figure out what's going on. You are in a strange place I do not fully understand. This place is not what it seems at first glance. Some trees are real, but the forest, as I'm sure you figured out, is purely illusion. I didn't figure that out. I'm glad you mentioned that. All right, so then we can ask what we are. You're the responsible party. I know no other way of stating that. You are responsible for everything which happens in this place. You and I are counterparts from 2 different civilizations. The lizard grins and in a raspy voice says, oh, and then the same ones. We can ask, okay, all about ourselves and see what that does. I came to this place through a terrible catastrophe that killed several others of my kind. Some zoological specimens we carried escaped their cages and are free, but the robot is worst of all. The lizard grins and then tells us all about that. So I'm actually going to stop right there, and let's just say I rated this game too harshly when we played this on the Apple II. This deserves more and better than the 3-star rating that I gave this when we played this originally in 1981. So I'm going to say, of all the games you could be playing right now across all home computers, this is original, and the way that you communicate with yourself is very, very difficult. So I can understand if you didn't like it would be hard to get into because it plays different than text adventure games, which is why I was so against it before. But I actually want to give this the nod and say, yes, this is an above average title. I'm going to go 3.5 stars of all the games you could be playing across all home computers. Cyborg is very, very well done. All right, so that's where we got to put our adventuring on pause and play another day. Our quest is far from over. We're going to keep playing every single video game across all systems, all over the world. Yeah, I know. If we could keep going, I would. Be sure to tune in next time on Chronologically Gaming. We have another port of Cyborg we're going to check out. And Mattel is releasing another game to the Atari 2600. Or should I say, Mattel is bringing another game over from the Intellivision. And we're playing Datnoids. That's it. Just that one word, Datnoids. That's it for today, and like I always say, retro has always been cool. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.